Welcome to PCOS and Prosecco. You're exactly where you need to be. I'm Tiana, a master's prepared registered nurse, a PCOS hormone coach, and creator of the Healthy PCOS Protocol. I know the heartbreak of losing a pregnancy and the frustration of battling weight, irregular cycles, and fertility struggles. But here's the truth, you don't have to stay stuck. With the right plan, you can balance your hormones, drop the weight, and prepare your body for pregnancy naturally. Let's dive in because your breakthrough starts now. Welcome back to PCOS and Prosecco. Sis, did you know that the healthcare system isn't built to help you reverse your PCOS symptoms? It's a rigged game, and if you're waiting for your insurance, you're playing to lose. Let's talk about the tea they don't want you to sip. Have you ever felt like the doctor's office is just a revolving door? In and out in 15 minutes with no real answers? Ever wondered why every prescription comes with a laundry list of side effects, but no one tells you how to actually feel better? Buckle up because I'm about to expose it all. Let's start with the question. Have you ever left a doctor's appointment feeling like nothing really got resolved? Like you just went in circles talking about your symptoms and walked out with another prescription instead of real solutions? If that sounds familiar, it's not just you. It's the system. And the system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed. Unfortunately, it's not designed for your healing. Let's break this down. Insurance companies dictate what doctors can recommend. Doctors have to follow what's covered, and natural remedies, forget it. They rarely make the cut. And here's the kicker. Those guidelines doctors are trained to follow, guess who writes them? Pharmaceutical companies. Yep, the same companies making billions off your prescriptions you'll probably need for life. Think about it. Insurance isn't here for your glow up. It's here for the copay. It's a business model, and you're a customer. Every prescription, every procedure, it's all a part of the profit machine. But what happens when what you need isn't actually profitable enough for them? You get put onto a holding pattern. Here's some perspective for you. Did you know that it takes the average woman with PCOS 2 to 3 doctors and years before getting a proper diagnosis? Years. Let me say that again. You're jumping through hoops, bouncing from specialist to specialist, and by the time you finally hear the words PCOS, the symptoms have already wreaked havoc, cysts, weight gain, cravings, and even worse. And that's not even the scariest part. Once you do get the diagnosis, what's the go-to solution? Pills, metformin, birth control, medications that come with their own list of side effects? Here's the truth they won't tell you. The system isn't set up to cure chronic conditions like PCOS because there's no money in healing. It's all about managing. Managing your symptoms, managing your dependence on medications, managing you as a lifelong customer. Here's the reality. They're not in the business of healing. They're in the business of managing. Take this pill for life isn't a solution. It's a subscription service, and it is $1 billion industry. Let me give you an example. I have a client who came to me after years of feeling ignored by her doctors. Every appointment was the same. Trying to lose weight. Here's another prescription. Come back in 3 months. Meanwhile, she's gaining weight. No matter how much she diets, her skin is breaking out. She hasn't had a regular period in years. By the time we started working together, she was exhausted physically, emotionally, and financially. What my client needed wasn't just another pill. She needed someone to look at the whole picture, her hormones, her stress levels, her nutrition, and give her the tools to actually heal. Within 3 months, she started ovulating regularly for the first time in years. And let me tell you, the glow up was real. She told me, I don't feel like I'm just broken. And that's the power of stepping outside of the broken system. And listen, her story isn't unique. It's what happens when you stop playing their game and you start learning how to heal yourself. Because the system benefits from you staying stuck. They don't want you to know that there is a different way because if you heal yourself, they lose a customer. So here's the question. Are you ready to stop being a part of their business model and start taking control of your own health? Stick with me because I'm about to dive even deeper into the secrets that they don't want you to know. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, how the healthcare system treats women of color. Because if you think the system is bad for everyone, it's even worse for Black and brown women. And I'm not exaggerating. These disparities are there and they're costing us our health and our lives. Here's what happens all too often. You walk into the doctor's office exhausted beyond belief. You're gaining weight, your skin is breaking out, your hair is thinning, and your periods are a hot mess. Either they're missing entirely or they're showing up like a horror movie. And what does the doctor say? Oh, that's just stress. Oh, you just need to lose weight. Sis, that's not a diagnosis. That is gaslighting. Okay? They're dismissing you out of the very symptoms that are making you feel like it's your fault. Meanwhile, they're completely ignoring the bigger picture. Insulin resistance, cravings that feel out of control, hormonal imbalance that makes the weight loss feel impossible. They're not addressing any of that. Instead, you're left feeling like you're the problem, when the truth is that the system is failing you. And let's not get started on how long it takes to actually get a diagnosis. Black and brown women are statistically more likely to face delayed diagnosis and less likely to be offered the full range of treatment options. It's not just a gap, it's chastism. This isn't about just the oversight or mistakes, it's about the systematic bias. The healthcare system wasn't designed with us in mind, and it shows. Let me break this down a little bit further. Historically, medical research has often excluded women of color entirely. The treatments, the protocols that exist today were rarely, if ever, tested on our unique biology in mind. So not only are we being gaslight in the office, but we're also being handed solutions that weren't even built for us to begin with. How is that fair? Here's another layer, the cultural aspect. Many of us grew up in environments where we were taught to push through, to minimize our pain, and that to a system that already dismisses our concerns, you've got a recipe for health disasters. By the time we realize how serious our symptoms are, we are already neck deep in the trenches. One of my clients told me she stopped going to the doctor altogether because she felt so unheard. She was tired of explaining herself, tired of being brushed off, tired of being told to just lose weight. This isn't just a medical issue, it's an emotional one. Feeling dismissed and unheard often takes a toll on your confidence, your mental health, and your ability to advocate for yourself. But here's a shift I want you to take away today. You're not powerless. Yes, the system is stacked up against us, but that don't mean we can't fight back. When you start to understand your body, your hormones, your cycle, your triggers, you take back control. You start asking better questions. You start accepting no for an answer. You become your own best advocate. The point is, the system isn't designed to heal you, especially if you're a woman of color. But that doesn't mean you have to stay stuck. When you take control of your health, you can rewrite the narrative. You don't have to accept being ignored or dismissed. You deserve better, and it starts with understanding your body and advocating for yourself. So let's break down the cycle of gaslighting and neglect. Let's take back the power they don't want us to have. The next segment is all about exactly how to do that. Let's get real about what happens when the healthcare system hands you a prescription instead of a solution. Medications like metformin and birth control are often the first line of defense for doctors that they offer women with PCOS. But here's the question no one seems to ask. Are they actually helping you to heal, or do they just mask the symptoms? Let's start with metformin. It's one of the most commonly prescribed medications for managing insulin resistance in PCOS. It sounds great in theory, right? But what they don't tell you is the laundry list of side effects that comes with it. Diarrhea, nausea, stomach cramps. And that's all just the beginning. Long-term use can lead to B12 deficiency, which brings about its own problems like fatigue, nerve damage, and even memory loss. You ever walk into a room and forget what you were going in the room for? So while it is managing one problem, in the back end, it's creating a whole nother problem. And then there's birth control. Don't even get me started, okay? How many times have you heard, let's put you on the pill to regulate your cycle? But here's the thing, it's not regulating anything. It's shutting down your natural hormonal rhythm and replacing it with synthetic hormones. Sure, your period might show up like clockwork, but it's not a real period. It's a withdrawal bleed. Meanwhile, the underlying issues like insulin resistance, inflammation, or high androgens, they're still there, just simmering under the surface. Here's the hard truth. Medication like these aren't cures, they're band-aids. They might make you feel better temporarily, but they're not addressing the root cause. And the longer you stay on them, the more you risk becoming dependent. It's like a toxic relationship. At first, it feels like it's working. You're thinking, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe it'll finally get better. But as time goes on, the cracks start to show. The side effects start to pile up. The symptoms start to creep back up, girl. And suddenly you're stuck, relying on a medication that was never truly designed to fix the problem in the first place. Let me share an analogy with you. Imagine your house has a leak in the roof. Instead of fixing the roof, you just keep putting out buckets to catch the water. That's what these medications are doing. They're catching the water. But the leak, the root cause, it's there, slowly causing more and more damage. And here's the kicker. The healthcare system is completely fine with this. Why? because a patient who needs lifelong medication is more profitable than one who heals. It's not about what's best for you, it's about what's best for their bottom line. This isn't healthcare, this is a business. But you don't have to play by their rules. You have options. The first one is understanding that healing isn't just about masking your symptoms. It's about addressing the root cause. It's about giving your body what it actually needs to function properly. And it all starts with asking the right questions and refusing to settle for quick fixes that aren't fixes at all. So if you've been stuck on medication that feel like a crutch rather than a cure, it's time to reevaluate. It's time to take back control because you deserve more than a band-aid. You deserve real healing. And in the next segment, we're going to talk about exactly how you can do just that. Here's something that might blow your mind. PCOS isn't just about the ovaries. It's not just about your period. It's a whole body hormonal imbalance that affects everything from your energy levels to your mood to your metabolism. Think of your hormones like a squad chat. If one of them, like insulin or cortisol, is acting up, it's only a matter of time before all of them jump in with their own drama. And if you've ever been in a group chat gone wrong, you know exactly how chaotic that can get. Take insulin, for example. When your body starts producing too much of it, it doesn't just mess with your blood sugar. It triggers a chain reaction that can lead to weight gain, cravings, and even higher levels of androgen. The hormones responsible for acne, unwanted facial hair, or look at cortisol, your stress hormone. When it's out of balance, it can throw off your sleep, your digestion, and even your ability to lose weight. Your hormones are all interconnected. And when one is out of whack, it's like dominoes. Everything starts to fall. But here's the good news. Understanding how your hormones work gives you the power to take control. Imagine waking up without the brain fog, handling your cravings like a boss, seeing your cycle show up on time for the first time in years. Okay, this is what happens when you finally stop outsourcing your health and you start supporting your body naturally. I had a client who used to avoid bakeries altogether because she couldn't resist buying a dozen cookies every time she walked by. She thought she just lacked willpower, but the truth was her hormones were running the show. Once she started balancing her blood sugar and addressing her insulin resistance, everything changed. She just didn't stop craving sweets. She started feeling in control of her body for the first time in years. Now she's out here meal prepping, losing weight, saying no to donuts like nothing. The glow up is real, and it started with her understanding her hormones. This is what I want for you. Because when you understand your body, you stop feeling like a victim of your symptoms. You start seeing the patterns, connecting the dots, and making the choices to actually support your health. You take back your power. So let's flip the script. Instead of waiting for a magic pill or a doctor to fix everything, what if you started learning how to support your hormones naturally? What if you started giving your body what it actually needs? It's not as complicated as it sounds. And in the next segment, we'll dive exactly how you can start doing this today. Let's take a moment to reflect on where we've come from and what we've inherited. Our moms, our grandmas, our aunties, they all did the best they could with the resources and the knowledge they had. But let's be real, they didn't have the kind of access to the information and tools that we have today. They didn't know about PCOS, insulin resistance, or the importance of hormonal balance. And in so many cases, they didn't even know that their symptoms was something that they could address. Think about it. How many of us grew up watching the women in our family silently struggle with painful periods, unexplained weight gains, or mood swings they chalked up to just getting older? How many of them were dismissed by the doctors or told that it was all in their head? These generational habits and traumas don't just affect their health, they shape how we approach our own. Here's the thing. When we learn to support our bodies, we're not just healing ourselves. You're breaking a cycle. You're setting a new standard for the next generation. Imagine your daughter or your niece or even the young woman in your community growing up in a world where they understand their bodies. They can advocate for their health and they don't settle for being dismissed or gaslit. That is the power of generational healing. This is the way legacies work. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You're sitting down with your daughter or niece one day. She's telling you about her first period. And instead of being scared or confused, she's empowered. She knows what's happening in her body. She knows how to track her cycle, nourish herself, and advocate for her health. And she knows this because you've set the example. You broke the cycle of silence and neglect. You gave her the tools she needed to thrive. This isn't just about fixing your symptoms. It's about creating a ripple effect that changes lives for generations to come. It's about turning the pain and frustration you felt into a source of strength and knowledge that benefits everyone around you. It's about reclaiming the narrative and showing the world and yourself that you're not defined by this diagnosis. So let's make this commitment today. Okay, let's commit to being the generation that breaks the cycle, the generation that doesn't settle for just managing our symptoms, the generation that demands better for ourselves and for the women that come after us. Because when you heal, it's not just your body that changes, it is your entire legacy. And I look forward to that as a mom of a little brown girl. In the next segment, we'll talk about the steps you can take to start the journey of healing and empowerment because it's not just about you. It's about everyone who looks up to you and everyone who will follow in your footsteps. Let's start with this powerful quote by Carl Jung. It's actually one of my favorites. It is written everywhere. It says, "Until you make the unknown known, it will rule your life and you will call it fate." Let me say that again. Until you make the unknown known, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Let that sink in because when it comes to your PCOS and your health, this couldn't be any more true. Here's the hard truth. The less you know about the body, the more you surrender control to your symptoms and systems that don't have your best interest in mind. If you don't take the time to understand what's happening inside you, you'll fall inside of the trap of thinking, this is just how it is. This is just how my body is. I just have to live with this. And that's exactly what the healthcare system wants you to believe. Because when you accept defeat, they've got a lifelong customer. Let's paint the full picture. If you keep waiting for someone else to fix this for you, here's what's going to happen. 5, 10 years from now, you'll still be struggling. The irregular periods, the weight that won't budge, the exhaustion, it's all still be there. Only now you might be dealing with complications like diabetes, heart disease, or fertility challenges that make it even more overwhelming. Let me ask you this. Do you really want to look back years from now and realize that nothing has changed? Do you want to wake up one day and think, if only I had taken action sooner? Because here's the thing, time doesn't heal your symptoms. Knowledge and action do. Every day you wait, you're just letting your symptoms win. It's a day where you're choosing frustration over empowerment. Here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to change your story. It is in your hands right here, right now. Imagine this. What if today, New Year's Day, is the day that you decide to take control? What if you chose to learn about your hormones, advocate for yourself, and make small, meaningful changes that add up over time? A year from now, you could be living a completely different life. Picture waking up with energy, feeling confident in your body, knowing you're on a path that leads to health and healing, not just for you, but for the generations to come. It's not just about avoiding long-term complications. It's about reclaiming your narrative. It's about stepping into your power and saying, I refuse to let PCOS or any other system. It's about reclaiming the narrative. It's about stepping into your power and saying, I refuse to let PCOS or any other system define what's possible for me. So here's my call to action. Don't wait. Don't let another day, another month, another year slip by while you're stuck in the same cycle. Take the first step, whether that's booking a consultation with me today, whether that's investing in one of my meal plans, whether that's starting a food journal or diving deeper into what your body is telling you. Because every small step you take is a victory. It is a chance to prioritize your health and your future. And let me remind you, you are not alone. You have resources, you have support, and you have the power to make informed decisions. It starts with you choosing to make the unknown known. It starts with you deciding that your health is worth it. And let me tell you, girl, it absolutely is. Now that we've gone deep into breaking down the healthcare system, the ugly truth about medications, the power of understanding your hormones, it's time to talk about what you can do today to start taking control of your health. So let's talk about some quick wins you can start right now. All right, the first one I want to say is that you can balance your plate. You can start by ditching the refined carbs and balance every meal with protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Think of it as a plate makeover. Less about restriction, more about balance. For example, swap out the white rice for some quinoa, or add some avocado to your breakfast toast for healthy fats. Why? Because balanced meals stabilize your blood sugar, which is the key to managing your PCOS symptoms like cravings and energy crashes. Next, I want you to track everything, okay? Not just your period. Start a journal where you start to note your cravings, your mood swings, your energy levels, your sleep patterns, and how you feel after meals. Patterns will emerge. And that's where the magic happens. Why? Because awareness is your superpower. By tracking, you're gathering clues about your body's unique needs and responses. And I say it and I'll say it time again, because what's not measured is not managed. Lastly, you need to have less stress. And I know it's easier said than done, but it is super crucial. Find one thing that reduces stress for you daily, whether it's a 10-minute meditation, a short walk, or even saying no to the extra project at work. Why? Because cortisol isn't just in your head. It directly impacts your hormones, especially cortisol. Elevated cortisol can wreak havoc on your weight, sleep, and overall hormone repair. So remember, here's the thing. You don't need to flip your entire life upside down overnight. Small, consistent changes add up to big results. And progress is always better than perfection. Imagine where you could be 6 months from now if you just got started with one of these steps today. You've scratched the surface on what's possible for you when you stop relying on a broken system and start taking control of your health. But here's the question I want to leave you with. Are you ready to make the unknown known? Are you ready to reclaim your health, your body, and your life? If you're nodding your head right now thinking, yes, I'm ready, don't let this moment pass by, girl. Reach out, join my program, or start the journal today. Because the only thing standing between you and the healthy, vibrant life you deserve is a decision to take that first step. And trust me, you've got this because I got you. Okay? Thanks for tuning in to PCOS and Prosecco. If you're ready to finally drop the weight, bring back your period, or prepare your body for pregnancy, help us here. You don't have to do this alone. Book a one-to-one session with me in the link in the show notes, and let's create a plan tailored to you. If today gave you hope, please subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me on socials at LoveSurf1. Until next time, cheers to PCOS, to Prosecco, and to the life you deserve.